Damn, what is up, my internet friends? Welcome to Walking Talking, the show where I walk and talk. I did definitely do the thing where I started the video off without thinking. You know, I anticipated the possibility of starting to think about what to say, and then I just started with the idea in my head that this would be the way to go, to not overthink it. But now that I think of it, I did have an idea of what I was going to say when I started the video, and it's what I just said. Or at least, you know, I knew I would say something about you know, planning to not know what I was saying, or planning to kind of be overriding my desire to have some kind of certainty or structure about what I was going to say. But you know, here's one of those pauses where it's like, what am I doing here? Again, that old question, the same question. I'm doing the same thing pretty much over and over again. Check out these little guys. Let me bust you. Let me bust you. The close-up. Get a load of that. I mean, some kind of aster, right? But which one I'm not, I just don't know. Anyhow, bear with me for a little bit. Be patient. We'll settle in here. It'll settle down. We'll dig into something. I promise we'll dig into something. Just bear with my kind of whimsical and halting and jumping around, scattered sort of mindset for the beginning here. Bear with it for a little bit. Enjoy it. Appreciate it. Appreciate the how we're just kind of like skimming on the surface of things and not seeming to get anywhere right now. Just appreciate it for what it is. Or don't, actually. It's also fine if you don't, and you don't appreciate it and it just sucks. You're just like, you can, it's also fine if you want to just feel like this wonder of, what is this guy talking about, if anything at all, and what the hell is this video, and why am I spending my time watching this when there's a whole luscious sidebar of titillating thumbnails to click on. But even if you hate this experience, or if it's just hard. I don't exactly want to like guarantee that it's going to pay off, but I want you to ask yourself whether there's a possibility of the uncertainty that you might be experiencing paying off, or being something to perhaps appreciate or cherish for the time being, or even just to like tolerate. Maybe the act of tolerating the uncertainty of how you're choosing to spend your time may pay off in the end. It's not, I mean, not actually the end, but later. Or, but not later, it should be now, actually. Like, you should be able to look at this experience now and hopefully, like, some part of your awareness, some little part of your mind can find something in this experience right now that's I don't know what to say, worth having. But even though I say that, I'm not necessarily trying to convince you to keep watching this exactly because, you know, I do actually think it'd be honestly also fine for you to stop watching. But I can't honestly say that I think it would be good for you to watch one of the more titillating looking videos. I mean, that's probably where the center of gravity lies, is either clicking on one of those other sidebar videos, or to skip around in this video is also a thing that probably has a gravitational pull for you. And I don't know, I guess I feel all right about that. I guess I feel all right about you skipping around. But I also have a feeling, I just have a feeling that in a way it's not like all these different options say, let's kind of categorize some options that we might have, which include watching a different video, getting off of YouTube altogether, getting off of your device altogether and doing something else, skipping around this video, or continuing to watch this one continuously. There's some level at which on some kind of like ultimate level, it's like I feel like whichever one of those decisions you make ultimately belongs in this reality. It will be, you know, it's like whatever becomes, and that's fine. But then on some other levels, I'm I feel I don't know if I'm really not being modest at all, if I really kind of abandon all modesty, then I think I would say that I think that the options of continuing to watch this continuously or getting off your device altogether and doing something would probably be the best two bets just for your overall well-being. And I'm just thinking about the effect that the media viewing habits that platforms like YouTube and social media have on you, and on your attention span, and on your limbic system, and on your emotional regulation, your emotionally regulatory mechanisms. And so I think maybe you might get what I'm going at here. What I'm getting at is that the options that seem like least sexy in the moment, the options that feel like there's an itch and you're not scratching it, are probably the most healthy in the long run. I mean, I can't say for everybody's individual circumstances. Maybe there's something important. Maybe there is actually something more important for you to be doing on YouTube than this. More relevant to your circumstance, your situation. That isn't just about stimulation. But I get the feeling that if you're watching this video, that maybe there's, I don't know. That if you're watching this video, then maybe you are in the sort of position that we could call like leisure. Or, you know, you're watching YouTube out of interest. More so than any sort of utility. And maybe this is a kind of stimulation. I mean, sure. I'd say this is stimulating, if you ask me. But, of course, we're at this point where you might be asking yourself, and if you weren't, you will be now once you hear me say it. Like we've watched thus far, and I'm not sure what this guy's even talking about, or Is he talking about anything at all? What have we done so far? I think this is like a goosefoot type plant for sure, like a lamb's quarters. A chenopodium. You know, like one of these, actually several of things very similar to this grow in my front yard. Well, so, I don't know, we've had several minutes of pretty much talking about nothing other than aspects of YouTube viewership. Okay. Boy, it's very quiet here when I shut my mouth for a few moments. Just a little bit of wind, but we can probably take care of that. Seems like the sort of place where if I yell too loud, there's going to be a rock slide that buries me. I also feel like I'm just walking through a fold in the brain. A fold in that gray matter. Or also like this is where I'm walking here is sort of one of the well-worn synapses. One of the well-traveled strong synapses. Get a load of that! Look at these nest things. Can you see that? Let me zoom in. I'm honestly not sure what makes those nests. I'm guessing it's got to be either a bird or a bat. But when I look down here, there's some little turds down here that seem a lot more rodent-like than bird-like. See those little turds? If I had to guess, which I do have to guess, I'd guess that that's guano rather than bird shit, which would lead me to believe that bats make these. Let's see how this works. Oh yeah, there we go. Damn. Look at those guys. I'm gonna try and adjust this better. All right, there we go. This is the money shot of the whole video already. Look at those guys. Somebody tell me what these are. Are these birdhouses or bat houses? Is somebody home right now? Haven't seen any activity. GoPro, stop recording. There we go. Wow. What makes that? This is the reaction video portion of walking and talking. I guess I'm not gonna, like, you know, put the little inset video of my face reacting, but you can just hear my voice reacting to these things. What gives? Or, holy shit. Ooh, highlight added. That's a good reaction. You know it's a good reaction video when the GoPro starts adding highlights. It knows the tone of my swearing. I could do this for 4 hours. I swear. Good grief. See, it adds a highlight when I yell holy shit, but let's try if it. Good grief. Yeah, GoPro. This is evidence of cultural bias in machine listening. Am I right? You can't deny it. That this camera is programmed to recognize when I say holy shit, or other. It just did it. It just did it. It just added another highlight, or other certain expletives. But it won't do it when I say good grief. Good grief! This is also obviously, you know, ageism. This is straight up ageism. Because it's trending towards, you know, the young people who say who are we've been desensitized to vulgarity, and now these curse words are so acceptable to us now. And you know, the GoPro is not going to, the camera is not going to add a highlight for the types of expletives, or the types of exclamations that someone from an older generation might say. Criminy! See, no highlight. Goodness gracious! No highlight. See, what if I were a BMXer? What if I were a BMXer and I almost took a wicked spill with my GoPro mounted on my helmet, and I said, "Goodness gracious!" Then the camera would not add highlight, and then, you know, it would take me that much longer to go through and find that wicked spill amongst all the other boring footage. I just call this video GoPro Exposed. Ageism. Cultural bias. GoPro bigots. The camera is, by the way, the camera is, you know, recognizing every single thing that I say and is going to report me. Is going to, you know, send data back to GoPro in order to improve its service. In order to improve its service and optimize it for my usage. But good. I want the algorithms to hear me. Register my objection to the fact that no highlight is added when I say "goodness gracious" or "good grief." Is this some kind of polygonum? I don't know. I'm not the botanist. Look at this. This is like stock photo gold right here. There's gold in these hills. Stock photo gold. Patterns. Backgrounds. Wallpapers. Get a load of everything. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just get a load of it all. I feel like I'm just trying to do that with my whole life. Just trying to get a load of this life. There's another one of those chenopodiums. I don't know all these plants. There's that thing. This is all just what this video is really just a data set for 3D rendering, for landscape textures. So that you can you know, import these textures into your first-person shooter games. That's all this is. That's all the world really was made for. That's why this magnificent world was created. So you can, you know, get some sick landscape textures in your 3D rendered. What do they call these? Assets. Assets. This is just a video for assets. A lot of assets here. Well, if I get buried by a rock slide not to be found for hundreds of years later, till hundreds of years later, I'm glad to have recorded this video. It'll be a little time capsule into the frame of mind of a person of our age, of our generation. This will be the archaeological evidence. They find this video along with the skeleton of a guy with a straw hat. Maybe the straw will have decomposed, but it's pretty dry here. Maybe not. Seems like a decent enough spot to get buried alive. You know, the best thing for the future intelligence that discovers this buried video will be that they can use this footage for assets, because this landscape will have eroded. You know, my body and this video might not even be found for another 500,000 years. Once this whole landscape becomes totally eroded, and you know, my bones and the camera come to the surface, and so things will be a lot more flattened out by then, I imagine. And at that point, this raw data set will be invaluable for video game making, because they can Maybe they'll, you know, maybe they'll discover this and they'll make a video game based on me. And I guess based on you too. It'd have to involve you as well somehow. How'd that work? How would that work? A walking and talking first person video game, but probably like somehow the goal of the game will have to be to transcend first person perspective. The goal of the video game will be like transcending subjectivity and objectivity. It'll be transcending first and second and third person perspectives. Boy, yeah. I feel like I honestly feel like I don't want to shout too loud when I'm walking under here. Silly enough as it may seem, but you know, I've seen enough episodes of Roadrunner. Coyote tracks. That is funny. Well, speaking of Roadrunner, Coyote's been here. I promise we'd dig into something. I guess if we were walking along a synapse, we're kind of going upstream, up the pathway, and so it's going to be getting shallower and less of a groove. Eventually, it's going to branch off into smaller branches. So metaphorically, I would equate that with getting more scattered in a way, or digging less into something. But we're gonna have to turn around eventually and go downstream. Maybe that's the point at which we're really digging in. I've heard it said, or rather I've read it written, that neural pathways do form in a similar manner as a hillside eroding. Once there's one little divot going, then subsequent water is going to be more likely to go down that same pathway, and thus the pathway gets deeper and deeper. And that's really what, you know, that's really the fundamental force that leads to all these shapes. That's kind of how we have these habits and patterns of thinking. And it takes conscious effort to direct our patterns of thinking away from the well-worn pathways. Here we got a decision. And so I'm trying to remember this spot so I can remember where to turn. And I believe it is fairly apparent that this is downstream. So if I'm returning back this way, that I can just continue going downstream. So I'm going to the left here. Remember that so you can tell me once I get back. I've gone to the left, and it's more or less like continuing straight. I think I can remember that. But I have to say that because I can get to walking and talking, and I'm so focused on the talking part that I'm not committing to memory, landmarks and navigation and so on. And so I end up somewhere and be like, all right, where the hell am I now? Yeah, I don't know. We're getting to the point where this is requiring some crawling. Hey, I'm crawling. Have we crawled on walking and talking before? You gotta crawl before you can run. This really is labyrinthine. Just like the hollows of my mind. As we go along here, I'm extra appreciative of this form of communication. The fact that I can talk to you while I'm doing this. I mean, you know, the urge to take pictures that people always have, that we always have, when you see a cool place, when you see some great assets, some great landscape assets. And so this is kind of like that, but you know, thousands of pictures. How many frames do you think are in this video? There's got to be 1 million frames in here or more. Can somebody do the math? We're doing 29 frames per second. So let's round that to 30. 30 times 60. So 1200? No. I'm not great with numbers, actually. 1800 frames per minute. Times 60. Is that actually like 1,080,000 frames per hour? I was trying to do that in my head, and I don't know if I did it right. $1,080,000 frames per hour. I'm not gonna check my math. That's for you. Times 4. So 80,000 times 4. $320,000. So 4,320,000. 4,320,000 frames per episode of Walking and Talking, roughly. It'll be a little bit less because it's 29 FPS rather than 30, but a little bit more because if the video happens to go over 4 hours. So it's that many photos. I thought it'd be more, honestly. Maybe I did an error somewhere there with the zeros. chipmunk. This will keep going up. Let's keep going up. Let's put in a conscious effort to kind of work upstream from our conditioned neural pathways to get ourselves out of the divot. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that your conditioned neural pathways are necessarily bad. Probably most of them are good. Well, I don't know. Depends. That's for you to say, really. Do you feel empowered? Do you feel like your mental patterns empower you and lead you to an increasing amount of agency and freedom? Or do you feel trapped? Like something that you thought was good for you wasn't. Something that looked good sucked you in. And now you're drowning in it. Because it's hard to get out. Once you go in and you get a taste, it's hard to pull yourself out. Have you been in this part recently? Let's get up to a spot where we feel like there's open potential. I guess as long as we don't get buried in the process. Is it treacherous? Is it treacherous sometimes to dig in there? In the recesses where you haven't been for a while? Are you gonna get lost? Some of this shit's just barely hanging on. It could all fall apart at any moment. I think we're just about as far as we can go here. As far as I want to go, at least. We can go downstream now. Oh, I guess I didn't spend very much time there at that terminus. Where the synapse originates. But now we can go downstream and just enjoy the ease of sliding down a pathway that we've been through before. Look at that. But, you know, I guess we'll maybe notice some things that we didn't notice on the way up it. If you don't understand yet why you're watching, if you're still waiting for the payoff, well, I don't have anything reassuring to tell you. Other than, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You can do it. You can watch, you can keep watching. You got this. I know it's tough, but just hang in there. It's not so bad. It's not so bad, right? You can handle, you've handled worse before. You've handled way worse than this. Just look forward to the end. Let's see. Here, I can't really reach my head in here, but you can. You're so small and slender. Wow, you can actually see in there where I cannot. Oh, it goes all the way through. Dude, this is great. There's cool air coming out of there too. If it weren't for your sleek and slender body, we wouldn't be able to experience this. I couldn't do it by myself. I'm too big. But you can fit. Amazing. Oh yeah, oh we got to do that again with the lens. Now we are cooking with gas. Check it out. Oh yeah. How is it in there? It's nice and cool in there, huh? Hello there. You're no longer in the cave. That's the cave down. That's the cave down there. Now you're out. Now you're out of the cave. You came out. You were like. I got a funny feeling that this isn't the whole world. That something gives me this funny feeling that. These are just shadows on the wall. I'm getting out of here. I want to see what's outside. Congratulations, you're no longer in the cave. I promise you. This is real. This is real. This is real life. Look here and look. Just look how real it is. Look at that. Let's just inspect what we can see of reality and just make sure it's real. Let's make sure it's real, you know? So let's look at it really close. Let's zoom in at what we see. Oh yeah, see? It's made of stuff. See, it's not just a shadow. It's not just some kind of projection. It's not just you know, your mind projecting its structure out onto the world and mistaking it for reality. It's real. See the stuff? We can get even closer. Let's look at even closer. See the stuff? It's a real something. Sure, there's cracks in between. But whatever, there's stuff in between the cracks. That's real, right? That's real. Real stuff. This is about as far as we can zoom in. I'm sorry I can't get you, into the crevices, into the gaps in between the stuff. What do you think? What's in there in the gaps in between the stuff? Is it real or ain't it? Is it real or what? We can see the stuff here. Here's a for you, you know, future form of sentience that finds me buried and finds this video buried beneath a bunch of rubble, exposed due to 500,000 years of erosion. Here's the part where, I don't know, maybe can you recreate me? Based on what do they call that thing? The part of your eye that's around your pupil? Do they call it the corona? It seems to make sense. It's a type of corona, right? That part that dilates, it's got the, you know, distinct pattern. I'm looking at you. I'm just trying to discern if you're the real deal. Are you who you say you are? Are you who you appear to be? Are you authentic? Or are you just putting it all on? Are you just faking it? Are you the stuff or the cracks in between? Which one is it? I look at a crack. I mean, I'm in a big crack. I'm in a big void. A crevasse. There's got to be other cool words for that. A fissure. A space. A holler. A holler. I look in the holler, and then there's stuff all along, you know. There's stuff that defines the holler. You gotta have the stuff to make the holler. And then, but then I look at the stuff, and then there's just like smaller versions of the crack. There's you know. I don't mean to bring up the F word here. I don't mean to drop an F-bomb, but, you know, it's fractalous. It's fractally. It's fractalesque. It's fractal-like. It's fractalish. You look at the stuff and it's still filled with cracks. And if I'm to believe what I'm told, that even if I could zoom in closer than this, I'd see yet more cracks in between the stuff. Smaller granules of things. And smaller cracks in between them. What's in there? Is it stuff or is it the space around stuff? Ooh. All right, you're going in, and I'm gonna I'm gonna pull you back out. I promise. You'll be fine. What do you see? I honestly cannot see what you can see right now. I cannot see what you can see. But I can see over. And again, I also cannot see what you can see. This is why we make a good team. I couldn't do this without you. Teamwork makes the dream work. Seriously. Oh. It was a chipmunk. I was hearing that scurrying and hearing you know, pebbles starting to fall, and I'm like, holy shit. Is this it? Is this the cave in? Because we need the emptiness to exist in. If there weren't no emptiness, there'd be no space in between the stuff. You couldn't move around. You couldn't move at all. There'd be no choices to make. All the choices would be already made. There's no choices, there's no time. There'd be no time. And there'd be no you or I without time. Without choices, without some weird mixture of emptiness and stuff. Which also makes me think about how at least when with a projector, you know, an old projector, it's blinking really fast. And so you got each frame, and then there is actually darkness in between each frame. And the projector couldn't work without that. If you didn't have the flickering with a projector, you wouldn't get this illusion of the moving image, because you know the film strip is moving continuously as far as we can actually discern. I believe maybe unless time is actually quantized, like at a fundamental physical level, but I don't know nothing about that. But in relation to the flickering bulb of a projector, the film strip is moving continuously, and if the projector bulb was not flickering, just be a blur. It'd be only a blur, completely indiscernible, because it's moving so fast, and you know, you're seeing all the in between. You're just seeing these images like slide by so fast. You wouldn't be able to, you know, build that relative continuity from image to image. There wouldn't be a referent. It'd be illegible, unreadable. Now, I'm not sure exactly how computer screens work and how smartphone screens work. It's LED lit. I mean, we're running at 29 FPS here. I guess depending on what I think that's what the YouTube compression will be at. And I honestly don't know what relationship that 29 FPS has with the rate of flicker from the LEDs that light up the display, you know? Because the LEDs is that a flicker? I don't really know. I mean, it's gotta, you know, there's like, you know, photons coming out of them, which implies a quantization of some sort. Is the rate of photon emittance further quantized with a flicker rate from LEDs? I don't know. I'll have to look it up, or you can look it up. Maybe I should lean right there. But at some level, there's got to be. I mean, it seems like at a lot of levels, there seems to be some kind of quantization going on with our experience that we're not quite able to perceive. Is this? What is this? This actually looks very much like dried seaweed. It can't be that. Some kind of dried vegetation, it certainly seems like. Unless it's a lichen, but doesn't really look like any lichen I've seen. But it is, you know, oddly adhered to this dried soil. I think I've even heard that there's a rate of quantization of even our brain's experience. And there's even a number associated with that, which I can't recall at the moment. There's some supposed rate at which our just experience of consciousness is chopped up into. That's, you know, obviously we can't perceive that. I mean, unless, I don't know, somebody's able to perceive that. I've felt like I've been able to, I'm seeing a flickering of my experience before. It's been a while though. Oh yeah, now I'm remembering that quite vividly now, actually. Even though it's like I can't fully remember, I can't fully like recall that experience, because that would involve, you know, re-experiencing a flickering. But yeah, it was almost like I was perceiving time with this intensening like accuracy and like fine granularity, to the point at which like time felt like it was flickering, and like there were flashes, and that like in between those flashes, like in between the frames of consciousness, like the darkness in between the frame was an infinity that I could drop into. But what I'm describing is just a recollection, and which I know always involves some amount of interpretation, some reinterpretation, some resculpting upon, you know, just the act of recollection. So, you know, the realness of that memory, it's hard to say how real it is. But boy, am I happy that you're here. Here to get a load of this. I mean, this video will be here a little while for you to. You ever need to get, you know, another load of this? It's here. Look at this is what we're crawling under. How super. See, the camera is not going to add a highlight when I say that. Super! Super! This is super! See, no highlight added. Cultural bias. You have to say actual swear words in order for this device to add a highlight. I mean, I'm not earnestly complaining that this hinders how I use this device, because it's not like I'd rely on highlights that might be against the spirit of this. Some poo-poo. Here's where I remember to go this way. I'm generally happy. That's a funny thing to say. Holy shit! I just found some motherfucking teeth. Holy shit! I'm not kidding. I just found some teeth, my friend. Look at this. Whoa. Did we get a highlight added here? Holy shit. This is where, you know, that was my most earnest holy shit yet, because those are undeniably some motherfucking molars. Holy shit. What did these belong to? How long ago did the critter that these teeth belong to die? They look fossilized to me. Damn. I mean, whoa. Are you seeing this? Are you getting a load of this? What is the ethical thing to do here? Do I leave them here for the fairies? Do I leave these here in the ether? It seems like, you know, maybe it seems like it might be relevant to take them to an expert for identification. Can we just, like, look at these for another long time? I mean, I know that's what you want to do. That's what I want to do too. Those are teeth, my friend. The hills are alive. They'll eat you up. I should take these, right? And show them to somebody. Let's just keep looking at these teeth for a while. You know, is there more? Let's you and me look. I'm glad you're here for this. Needless to say. You see anything else? See any other fossils? See any other bones? I have read that there's a lot of there are a lot of fossils of early mammals here. You know, all kinds of like proto horses. And things like that. Proto felines, early felines. Man, you know, if I were an actual like paleontologist or something, maybe I would know how to start excavating. But sadly, I'm just a non-specialized dope who makes these videos for your enjoyment, for fun and profit. Not so much a profit. Unfortunately, sadly. But hey, you know, never a bad time to, you know, pitch the old Patreon channel. Link in the description, maybe. All right, so I think the thing to do is gingerly remove these and mark this spot somehow. So that this spot can be found again. Let me think for a second. GoPro, stop recording. All right. Got an idea here. I got this bundle of flowers. That I'm gonna hold in place here with a rock. All right. That's noticeable and fairly unmissable if you're coming up this thingy. Arroyo? Is it Arroyo? Synapse. That's what it is. Brainfold. You see that? And then that means look to the left to find the spot where the teeth was. And then we need something else to just mark that exact spot. Let me find something real quick. GoPro, stop recording. All right, I got some of these black rocks that aren't everywhere. So you know, it's kind of, it feels a little crazy that I'm awkwardly holding the camera under the crook of my arm as I try to get these out. And you know, I just don't really have a conception to like how significant this is. It's like, is this an ancient fossil that, you know, is of paleontological import, or is this just something as banal as like you know, some like just modern day bison teeth or something, or like deer teeth that just like died like a couple years ago, and this isn't even a fossil. I just don't know. Let me leave my knife there for a sec. I got this. Damn. Something tells me these are pretty damn old. Obviously, I could be wrong. Very awkwardly holding this camera in the crook of my arm. And then I guess I put it in ye ol' fanny pack. And then put this rock exactly where I pulled it out. Just another one to help it be visible, and this one to help hold it in place. All right, that represents exactly where I found it. Just in case, you know, just in case some expert wants to come excavate. Who knows? In all likelihood, maybe I'll show these teeth to somebody and they'll laugh at my face and tell me it's the most banal thing, the most banal, commonplace thing. Maybe they'll tell me it's not even teeth. It's like it's a dried fungus that looks like teeth. Rookie mistake. All right, let me get situated here, and we'll move on. GoPro, stop recording. All right, we're moving on. But now I'm not going to be able to help but continue looking for remains. Best case scenario for me is I show these to some expert and they can identify them and tell me what it is, and then they let me keep them. That would be the shit if they let me keep them. But I know you're not supposed to like collect fossils here. That is, I know you're at least not supposed to take them out of this park. So I'm not going to do that unless I get permission. But damn, I hope I get that permission. But it's okay. At least I got this video. Here, now, I mean, here's where it gets really interesting for you future sentiences that find this fossilized video footage. You find this camera with this video on it that, you know, has remarkably stayed intact for 500,000 years. Next to this human skeleton, that is carrying with it a couple of teeth from some other animal from a different time. That's so you're like, oh man, is this an early human that got bit by you know, and even, you know, a really old carnivore? Did this guy get killed by a proto horse? There's two, because there's two horse teeth right next to his crotch. We as archaeology, a toad. Hello. I did not expect to see you. Get a load of this guy. Blends right in. I can see stuff. I can find stuff now. He's breathing. See him? Wow. Living right here in this mud pit. You gonna be all right? You got enough water? Wow. Wow. I mean, I guess there's an occasional insect for it to eat. But remarkable to me that this guy can survive here. Wow. Hey. Sorry to disturb you from your hole there. Amazing. Just, you know, find a little spot that's got a little bit of moisture and you can survive. Hey, don't go anywhere. I'm going away. Go back to your home. I'm not gonna bother you. Stay there where it's moist. Any more teeth over here? Look, that's a nest. It has to be. Tell me if you see any more fossils. I'm confused as to why, you know, I see these sticks in here. I don't know why or how all these sticks got into here. Little twigs. Could they have gotten here from other birds' nests? I mean, so, okay, here's this growing. This looks like the little dried out chenopodium, I think, or one of the other plants. So it's growing there. So at some point something was growing there. You mean to tell me there's one up in there? There's stuff growing up there. Alright. I guess I don't understand how all this works exactly. But like, yeah, how these ones get like up in here? It's like crumbled up twigs. Like, did the actual twigs erode down somehow? Don't ask me, you're the expert here. There's more in there. How to get in there? And in there, it's like, you know, just like a mess of twigs in there. Oh, it must be from when it rains. They must just like wash in there when there's a big downpour. I think that's got to be it. Yeah, because that looks like, you know, just mess of muddy twigs that got washed in there from rain. But it kind of makes me curious to look in these twigs to see what else might have gotten washed in there with the rain. More coyote tracks. We're going downstream. You know, now I just want to look at I just want to scrutinize every last detail. This is the central scrutinizer. Hat tip to my boy. Here's a little mini cave that you could live in. Just because you have a small enough body. See, I can't fit in there, but you are small enough you can fit in. You can live here. It's nice. There's a nice overlook. It's a little bit hard to get to, but it's very private, very scenic. Oh, there went a chipmunk. There he is. You know, at some point, I figured, holy shit. Can you give me a break? Goodness gracious. Look at this. Just look at this. Would you just look at this? Did I make this? Get a good load of this, please. What was I about to talk about? Oh yeah, I figure that at some point Google's algorithms that watch, for lack of a better term, everything on YouTube will learn to find their own highlights. So in a video like this, you know, the algorithms now are completely economically driven. They have an incentive to learn the way that the human psyche works only insofar as it serves a profit. That is, it's Google's algorithms that watch YouTube are incentivized by figuring out how to target advertisement and content better, how to target, you know, your attention better with things like its recommended content, how to keep your eyes on YouTube as long as possible. You know, it's you got a enormously powerful artificial intelligence that has all of its sights triggered on your brain right now and keeping your eyes on YouTube for just the next moment. Like, what will keep you looking at YouTube for the next second is all that you know, one of the most powerful AIs that exists, you know, is focused on that. But I have, and so, you know, it's getting better at that by learning from every single YouTube video that gets uploaded. I think this is my understanding. And so I just wonder what these algorithms are seeing in this video. What are they looking for? What are they finding? Can they recognize the speech here? Can they recognize the linguistic content here? I mean, all the components for this exist, like speech to text recognition. We have it. They have it. They can do the auto-generate subtitles. You can do that. You can turn on auto-generate subtitles. It can recognize the speech. Can it recognize, you know, the visual patterns here? That technology exists also. I don't know to what extent Google is using this on YouTube. But there's no doubt that all these components of machine learning are evolving. And I have, I don't know, some kind of intuitive feeling that if the processes that we are going through in this historical moment don't destroy us, and if the kind of like snowballing, increasing like kind of like parasitic influence that these algorithms have on us doesn't destroy us, which it seems to be doing, that it's possible that it just might develop or evolve, if you will, to another stage of being, another stage of development where it might have a slightly more holistic conception or like programming as to what actually is good. It could have maybe it could have a slightly more holistic, you know, conception of like what's good for the whole of sentience in the long run, and that you know, obviously not just like hyper targeted advertising driven only for profits, because that's very, very short-sighted. Obviously it's not taking into account like the commons of the world, and especially not just the general commons of like human well-being, human attentional capacity, human ability to solve problems, to emotionally regulate, to think in a comprehensive way, to cooperate. Obviously, the economically driven algorithms that are dominating our lives at the moment are running counter to all of that. But I do have this feeling that in order to continue at all, it will have to go up a level in terms of understanding, in terms of like conception of what the objective is. And so in that, like, I kind of wonder what if there's not like content that we can, you know, be putting out there for it to try and train. Like if I'm putting this video and a whole series of them, all this content on YouTube, and these algorithms are analyzing it for the purpose of figuring out how to, you know, do better targeting in order to increase advertising profits. Like, what can it find in this video that's useful? And I hope, you know, it's kind of like I'm hoping that there's almost nothing in this content that is really weaponizable in that sense, and or that to the extent that this type of content somehow becomes integrated or absorbed or learned by YouTube's algorithms, that it would be a beneficial thing in the long run. That, you know, that you know, putting something out into the world that, like, if people are to or like if the world is to like relate to this content in the typical way that it relates to content, that is to figure out how to like utilize it for an individualistic type of gaining idea, or for a tribalistic or like nationalistic type of gaining idea that is like operating in the zero sum game of like trying to gain something over others, that like this, that if this type of thing gets in there, then it might screw it up a little, and it might kind of like, you know, start to nudge things just in the slightest bit towards a different paradigm, a slightly a more comprehensive understanding of the notion of progress. And it's not just the computer side of that. It's not just the digital side of that is part of this, because it's also shaping our consciousnesses as we interact with it. You know, our filter, you know, our Facebook is constantly gathering information with every interaction you make with it. It's recording, you know, how long you scroll, how long you stop on something before you scroll away, where your mouse cursor is hovering, and all that stuff. And just learning how to tailor it right to you, and so then your conception of reality gets altered, gets skewed. I mean, this is information that other people are talking about, probably in a clearer way than I'm talking about it, but this is my take on it. That you know, the algorithms are learning from our consciousnesses, or at least a certain aspect of it, a certain weaponizable aspect of our consciousnesses, or I mean I should maybe say like our minds more so than our consciousnesses, and then, like, you know, feeding us back some version of that further shapes our mind into that stream. It's like it's this feedback loop that keeps us in this divot, keeps us going. It keeps us in the same divot, you know. That's how they get so addictive. The addictive qualities of all these media platforms, this one included. Well, we're going to talk more of that, but just for now, we're back here. So can we just take another moment to like get another good gander at these nests? I can't believe this. And also, how long have these been here, do you think? Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Unbelievable. So this is why I say to sometimes just expend the effort to like go upstream of your neural pathways, your typical neural pathways, and just deal with the discomfort of it. And that discomfort is going to manifest in all sorts of different ways. Like, for me, you know, maybe I place myself in an environment where I'm a little bit, where I'm removed from some of my comforts. The things that I would go to kind of avoid having to feel something uncomfortable, or to think a disturbing thought or an unpleasant thought, or just, you know, just to feel an unpleasant. My little comforts that I can use to not feel bad now in the moment, because, you know, that's when we want to not feel bad. Ooh, what is this? Hold that thought for just a sec. What is this? This is really interesting, because these shapes in here sure appear to me like little bones, and then when you get really close here, I can see like the granularity of crystals. Like, it's also crystal in there. Can some, you know, is there some paleontologist that can you, if you, this is a sincere ask here, if you know a paleontologist, could you just like direct them to the relevant moments in this video, the teeth, and also to this thing, and maybe they can provide me and maybe even all of us a little bit of insight into what we're looking at here. They could leave a comment, or send me an email at sittingandsmiling@gmail.com. We got some magnified footage here. What are we looking at? Is this, or ain't it, a fossil? Or is it just weird shaped quartz crystals inside this rock? Man, so much I need to learn. What were we talking about before the oh yeah, something about the discomfort. You know how this thing, is this screen cover okay? You know how sometimes you feel really bad? If you say no to, if you answered no to that question, I don't know if I trust you. Look at this. It's hanging on right there. That's where it's going in. All the way down here. And that's where the leaves are. Amazing. This is the landmark for that maybe fossil. Can't we get to, like, you know, can we get to this like cloud intelligence where like the specialization is like a little bit less important, you know? Will we get to a point where there's an app? I mean, does this already exist where I can just take a picture with the app and some expert will identify it, or maybe even the app itself? It's gonna have algorithms that'll tell me what I'm looking at, if it's a fossil or not, and what it is. But like I was saying before, so I, put myself in an environment where I'm a little removed from my comforts. I don't have my computer to go to. I don't have the internet to go to. At least not immediately. I'm in a spot without cell reception. Sleep there. I don't have my, I don't have no cupboard full of snacks. And then, but I am surrounded by this. But the uncomfortable stuff starts coming to the forefront of my mind, and I become, painfully aware of how much I'm fixating on some bullshit, some interpersonal bullshit, or something, or some negative self-perception, etc. And then I don't have an immediate escape. I can't go down any of any well-worn synapse, you know, of immediately comforting myself. And so I just have to endure it for a bit. But I am in an environment that just it's just, you know, it's just impossible not to marvel at just the very miraculousness of being. I mean, give me a break. This exists? Seriously? This exists? And nobody made this. This type of experience is possible? Give me a break. And then I've got a practice. I got this thing that I do over and over again that always feels a little bit comfortable getting started, a little bit uncomfortable getting started. And also occasionally it's like maybe a little bit of a practical ordeal to set myself up. So, you know, I'll go into that later. But then, you know, once I do it and we dig into it, you just feel so full and grateful to be alive, and feel, you know, just this feeling like of also just wanting to spread this feeling as much as possible, spread this kind of like general, the general mode of this experience. Okay, let me take note of where I'm going for a second before I get carried away. That's where I came from. That's where I came from. That's where I turned, and then I went way up there till it terminated, came back. So that's the way out of here. This is where I haven't gone yet. So we're going upstream. So on the way back, it should be fairly simple to just keep going downstream. This big reminder that really, if I could just do anything with my life, if it could be to like make the experience of even like one person to be more expansive and open and freer, then it's a life well spent, I think. You know, it's like hopefully the net effect would be more of that than the opposite, than making people feel like shit. I mean, like, And I mean that in the long run of things. Lots of things feel really good immediately, but in the long run make you feel like shit. I suppose if I were to err on things, I'd go with things that make you feel like shit for a little bit at the outset, but then make you feel more expansive and grateful to be alive in the long run. And more free, you know, less dependent on things that seem the sort of things that you gotta buy, or that, I don't know. I don't mean to get into, it's not just about capitalism or something. It's, you know, it's something more fundamental than that. The feeling of freedom. It's not just about like being stuck in capitalistic exchange. That would be a limited understanding in my view. But it's more like that's kind of like, feels like a manifestation, or like the negative aspect, the thing that I'm painting as a negative aspect of that is more like a manifestation of like objectifying reality like it's something that you can grasp and keep, and that's a mental process that has us feeling separate from the world. But even that is not exactly it, because like as we were talking about before, it's like, you know, it does seem like there's stuff. It does seem like there's objects and there's cracks in between. But you can go down that hole by yourself of whether reality has substance or not. That's best. You better figure that one out yourself. Ooh, look at over there. All right, just trying to make sure I'm not getting disoriented. There are caves here. Ooh. Arch. Damn. Criminy. Would you get a load of that? please. Why is like everybody not here? I don't get that. Why is this not the most popular spot? Roll through. Come on. Roll through. It's lit over here. Come, give me a break. Ooh, more of those nests. Just a second. GoPro, stop recording. All right, we got more of these. We got another colony. I'm dying to learn what these are. I'm just gonna look this up as soon as I get back to the internet. But if you know, if you figured out, if you've looked it up, or if you just happen to know, leave a comment so everybody else can know. What makes these? Is it a bird? Or is it a bat? Or aliens? I mean, I know I am cheating by going to such a phenomenal place. I am cheating with my experience, kind of. Because it could very well be that the good things that I'm experiencing are dependent on this place, this special place. I mean, sure, yeah, it's true. It's true to an extent, but you've also seen all these other episodes where I'm just, you know, walking in the stupid park in Philly, and it's just as good. Oops, ah, shit, I just doxed myself. Darn it. Darn it. Shucks. Shoot. Shit. Shh. Yeah. Shit. Now I'm gonna have all you creeps on my tail. Ooh. Well, this is, you know, this is solid. Solid structure here. Feel I'm perfectly safe in here. Look, see? This rock is holding everything up. Yeah, this rock is, you know, perfectly solid. I'm gonna have all you creeps looking me up, snooping on the internet. Next thing I know, you'll be knocking on my door. Because somehow you put things together and found me. Shit! All you people that have dopaminergically bonded with me over the years, and I don't know who you are or what you look like. You'll be knocking at my door because you're my friend, but I won't know you. Give me a break. Look at this shit. That added a highlight. See, it's really just like the camera is really just biased to add highlights every time I like say shit. See, it just did it. How does that sound like a highlight? That's like an annoyed shit. It didn't add the last one. It's having some trouble still discerning excitement from annoyance. Look at that. The whole video is a highlight. It's all highlight. Give me a break. What is going on here? It's been eroding like this for 500,000 years, and more or less another 500,000 years left. We're just in the middle. Do I crawl through this? Yeah. Let's go. There's a footprint. There's a human footprint. Sorry to destroy the mystique. Sorry to make you think. Sorry to burst the bubble that we're, pioneers. Pretty far from it, actually. But in another sense, in a grander sense, we're pioneers. Just in that, look at this moment. Nobody else experienced this moment before in the most real way. Nobody experienced this moment before. And it certainly does seem pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We do not know what's going to happen. And it does seem like our grip on sustaining ourselves is pretty tenuous. Another, whoa. This one's tighter. This could be the end of it. Looks like it keeps getting, it's continuing to get tight over here. Options might be closing in. Oh, and then you got thistles green thistles growing over here. Let's check it out. That's the greenest thing I've seen so far. A pigeon? Well, that's reminiscent of home. Lots of feathers. All right. Don't say anything too loudly, or it's all gonna come caving in. Oh, a moist spot with some hornets getting a drink. And then it goes up a bit. But I think we got to start getting back. Give me a moment to drink some water off camera. GoPro, stop recording. Let me ask you something, my internet friend. Do you think that someday I gotta start playing by the rules of the A game? Do I gotta start playing by the rules of the algorithm, aka this media landscape, in order to gain a more powerful foothold in it, in order to then exert some kind of influence, hopefully towards the B game type of paradigm that is say I don't know, let's say I would like a world where our internet media platforms and social media platforms aren't constantly trying to hijack our attention for profiteering interests at the expense of our, more fundamental and inner well-being. Do I gotta participate in that game to change the rules of the game? People talk about that, you know. People say that. Stuff like that. That you gotta play the game well in order to change, before you can change the rules of the game. I don't feel like I'm playing the game well. I mean, I never really consciously came at it from that attitude. I honestly could never stomach it. I could never even stomach it. Like, any decision I made, like, based on that kind of thinking, like, has really led to me feeling disgusted with myself, and generally hasn't like had any positive impact in my life. I think I could be totally misinterpreting all of that. I mean, it's not like I never do things for, like, my own personal benefit. But it's just that, like, I can only, I feel like I feel like I'm trying as much as possible to do that in a way that's in service, that's always in service to a type of relating to the world that is not so dualistic and not this zero-sum competition against others. I couldn't really stomach like competing. It just felt, you know, I just couldn't see the point of it. Like beating somebody at something, like, who the fuck cares? It's more like finding, like finding the niche where it feels like I can contribute something that's not at another's expense, that's not competing with some other, you know, same type of thing, that's hopefully, you know, just adding to the general landscape of possibilities for living. I hope I aspire to something like that. Hold on a second. Trying to get over this thing without toppling this mountain onto myself. Because look, where do I even? Hold on, let me sit you down for a second. Oh shit! How do I do this? Yep. Yep. Hup. No rock slides yet. No being buried under millions of years old layers of volcanic ash and fossiliferous soil. Really would not be a bad way to go out, if you ask me. Well, I mean, for a little while it would suck, but then, you know, maybe I'd even get mummified. But I mean, I'm not quite ready to be mummified. I mean, if I get mummified, it's fine. But still, there's some more things that I'm down to do. There's more episodes of walking and talking to make. I have to make so many episodes to make it just completely overwhelming to try and watch. I just have to, you know, totally saturate. I just need to make this huge thing that's so long that you could never really conceive of watching it all. But maybe you can explore it and maybe find some little nuggets here and there. Like the teeth. This is, you know, I don't know if I should even indulge you, skipper or rounders, because there's some gems in this episode for sure. It's fine if you're skipping around. I'm just not going to tell you what's where in the video. I'm just hinting at the fact that there's some insane shit. I mean, I'm sure you get that impression anyways. So we go downstream again. Sorry, I can't help but keep my eye out for fossils. Little poos. Oh yeah, there's that other dark hole. I don't know if I can fit. Oh yeah, this rock is blocking the way. Yeah, I know. This part's boring, but remember what I said? I don't know, I can I kind of, I don't know, when sometimes when I'm making these videos, and particularly in the times when I ever choose to subject myself to reading the comments, I kind of imagine some of the aspects of raising kids, just like, you know, when they're being little brats, and like, of course they are, because they got to develop, and you got to tolerate them being assholes, and understand that, you know, they're naturally kind of have to be that way for a certain time, all the while trying to continue to encourage them to not be assholes. Well, I mean, I guess that's would be my perspective on parenting, to get your kids not to be assholes. I've met some people that it's evident that their parents had a different approach to parenting. I've met some parents in which that was clearly the case. But we're diverging. We're scattering. That's all right. We're going downstream a little. Here's the divergence. But imagining taking kids here, and they're probably excited for a certain amount of time, and then they start getting cranky and complaining and wanting to go get ice cream, wanting to go home so they can play their video games, and then me just feeling like I'm fighting against some force. I mean, hopefully that wouldn't be my orientation. Hopefully I'd be an understanding and compassionate patient. But I probably wouldn't be able to just sit around and stare at stuff for a long time. Well, I don't think I'd be able to make these videos. That's pretty sure. Is this in focus? Let me focus this. GoPro, stop recording! GoPro, stop recording! There we go. Let's just look through the binoc for a minute. Or the monoc for you. You only have one eye. I'm sorry that you can't see this in depth. I guess we gotta, I guess that VR camera is the next step, but thankfully we don't have to do that yet. All right. Thankfully, I can talk to you like an adult. Well, I don't know if that's what this is. I'm treating you like an adult. I'm treating you like you've got, as if you've got attentional capacity. Not like YouTube treats you. I don't know. Maybe you have a pretty decent YouTube feed, you know? Mine knows me pretty well. Most of the time, it shoots me, people talking for a long time. People talking, podcast length. Somewhere between an hour and 2 hours. Intellectuals. That I'm interested in, My YouTube feed knows me fairly well. It's and it does make me who I am to some extent. Just a second, we got a technical difficulty. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. All right, we're back in business. Technology, it's getting a little on the fritz. Things don't last as long as you'd hope. The battery. The rechargeable battery pack is not seeming to hold out as long as one would hope. But I think we might just make it we might just make it. Just a sec. GoPro, stop recording. Fingers crossed. I don't know how much longer the battery's gonna hold out. But I mean, like I said, if it's our time, it's our time. But we will go out kicking and screaming with our fingers clawed into the hillside. Woo! We will go out trying to squeeze out every last watt of electricity. That's kind of my thinking with like with fossil fuel. Like, you know, it's like a battery. We're gonna squeeze every last drop out. Why am I talking about this shit? This is precious time between you and me. The battery is getting low. This is precious time. Let's take everything in real quick. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it all. Get a big load of it. Quick, take it all in before the darkness, the big dark sets in. The big blackout. Damn. I'm sorry that I maybe, you know, YouTube might be shaping my personality a little in ways that may not necessarily be desirable. You know, and that it might be transforming me to some extent into a jerky 9-year-old. 9, 10, 11. I don't know, maybe kids are, I can't generalize. But I feel like that's like prime internet jerk age. And maybe the YouTube media landscape is, you know, turning me into that a little bit. As you might detect from, you know, now it's getting a little bit it's getting a little bit more like we were at the beginning, where I'm jumping around. Well, I've kind of been jumping around the whole time, but things repeat. There's a little bit of repetition. There's a little bit of structure. There's a little bit of sense to be made here. Yeah, so basically, this whole episode, up until just like a minute ago, we weren't even walking in the main synapse. That was just like a little side neuron that pours into this biggin. You know, you think you're in the mainstream, but you're actually upstream of it, always pouring into a mainer stream. And you know, like every one of these could be another whole insanely rewarding pathway to go down. And also, let me just tell you before the battery runs out, the sequence of events that led me to be in this particular spot is just so completely fortuitous, and involved so many like mistakes and errors and failures that if any one of those had not occurred, I wouldn't be right here now, and we wouldn't be seeing this. We wouldn't have found fossilized teeth or a toad or those crazy nests or any of this stuff if I hadn't had this, you know, minor crisis of my battery crapping out earlier and needing to like go to a place to juice it up, and several other like completely kind of random decisions that could have easily gone another way, and this episode would not exist as it does at all. It would be completely different. Like, I literally found this spot on this, you know, accidental, like, this thing looks cool, let's check that out. While killing some time in order to wait to be able to get some water. If I had had enough water to begin with, I wouldn't have had to... Oh! Hey, oh, don't get away from me! Don't get away from me! I don't know where you think you're going, but... Not today! You're not getting away that easy. Nice try. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's one of those moments where, like, I'm bummed out for a while because it seems like everything's going wrong, and my original plan is falling apart, which it did. The original plan did fall apart. In a way that was kind of bumming me out, but I didn't let it bum me out too much. I just, you know, did what I had to do, which, you know, way out of the way in order to get battery juice and water. And fortuitously enough, it led me to where I am in this episode. Very happy about that. Which I think relates a little bit to what I was saying about you can put it together yourself. That's probably better if you do. It's probably better if you put the strands together yourself. See, here we got another. Do we do the big one or the slightly smaller one? Oh, there's a couple more of those nests up there. This is nuts. Think of all we're missing. Every turn we take, there's the whole nother infinite realm of possibilities that we're saying no to. A lot of life is like that, saying no to things. And what it is it's always, this idea of freedom is not necessarily like unlimited options and unlimited possibilities. It's like sometimes saying no to things, sometimes limiting your options is actually conducive to a different type of freedom, I find. Like the ability to just say no to all these fucking life options that are always parading in front of you, and be like, no, I'm just gonna do this one thing. As sexy as all these other possibilities appear, because digging into this one thing is gonna yield something unique that I wouldn't have if I am always trying to remain open to every single sexy life possibility that flaunts itself in front of me. I already probably am too open already. I probably could do with limiting myself even further, limiting my options even further. We'll just keep coursing through these recesses. Until the end, and then it'll end and you'll know that you saw it all. But you know, this is the sort of experience that just makes it so obvious to you how little of everything you've seen, how impossibly minuscule one's perspective is. I don't know. That's not right either. That's not right to say. Am I scraping the bottom of the barrel here? It's good. It's good. It is good to get to the point where you're like scraping the bottom of the barrel of your mind, trying to see what you can pull out of it. Just case in point, I wouldn't be able to find a positive framing for that metaphor had I not been scraping the bottom of the barrel of my mind. And now you can feel the velocity of my voice, and the mildly humorous enjoyment behind the projected sense of urgency. The mildly humorous detachment. This is the wettest spot so far. The most water. Oh. And here's another sort of terminus. Then it gets quite, well, you know, thought it was getting narrow, and then it doesn't. Then it's not. It just keeps going. Could go forever in this. Hey, there's a tree. Ooh. What are these, quaking aspen? Listen to them quake. I don't know if they're, I don't know. Well, they're quaking. Let me just listen to you quake. Get yourself to the bottom of your barrel. It's good. It's like you ever like have to sense like your refrigerator needs to go on a fast? because that's when you can clean out all that crud. I mean, here it's like, you know, here's how I can even justify my lack of smart things to say, because now, you know, I can put all the onus on you. Be like, of course I can moralize at you and be like, you find the meaning here, which is true. I kind of believe that. What little nuggets, what little gems might you find here at the bottom of the barrel of Ben's mind? What use might you be able to render out of this scant remains of my cognition in this particular moment? Come on, you can be resourceful. There's not much left, but it's a worthwhile challenge. Challenge yourself a little bit. Innovate. Make some MacGyver something out of the scraps. Here's the biggest water hole yet. Some bugs getting some drink, and some of them getting stuck in there and drowning. Well, it's more or less time to start getting back to the point of origin. Even though I'm sorry I can't, in this particular instance, just walk 4 hours in one direction without backtracking, and then backtrack for another 4 hours to get out, because there's not a looping possibility here that I'm aware of. But it's good, because we'll see some of the same things again, and maybe it'll engender a little bit more possibility of meaning making, you know? Repetition. We need a little bit of repetition to start to be able to read things and have some kind of sense of grounding. So let's, you know, listen to the aspen quake for a second, just for some rep. A little bit of rhythm. You know, we'll remember things like here. when it seemed like it was just going to increasingly get narrow. Like here, when I thought it was a terminus point. Or rather, an origin point, if we're talking about going downstream. And here, which we thought was the biggest water hole. It's like agape now. Know what I'm saying? I'll just leave that one hanging out in ambiguity. It's spelled A-G-A-P-E. What footprint is that? Alright, the battery's low, but it kind of seems like it's holding for a little bit. We might just make it. We might just make it out alive. Once again, I'm enormously grateful for your presence here. Did that, I don't know, did that sound earnest? It didn't, it sounded like there's not a total level of earnesty when I said that. I have kind of like funneled into a kind of characterization. Look at this. Look how this twig lies here. Just a sec. Look at that twig that is being held up. This twig just sitting there has prevented the erosion below it and allowed it to erode around it. Nuts! Just a twig is like shaping the landscape, and then like who even knows what cascading effects this will have. Like now there's a ridge here, and that ridge will cause the water to go to the side of it and furrow deeper down to the sides, and it's like any one of these peaks here, any one of those pinnacles, it's like the whole shape of the dang mountain could have been originally caused by like one little rock sitting in one spot that kept the rain from eroding that particular spot. All right, we that's where we didn't go. That's where we came from. I can't help but want to look around this curve. You know, it's hard to stop. It's hard to be like, I'm gonna let that not come into my experience. Because damn, I don't know. It's like there's the meaning. It's like our meaning, that like just the meaning making aspect of our consciousness like kicks in kind of no matter what happens. Sometimes it seems like, I mean, if I think back to all the things that I have interpreted as fucked up, I mean, to some extent, like, yeah, they're fucked up, but then also it's like there's also so many times in my life where it's like I wouldn't give up any of this, and any of this is like so dependent on what's happened in the past that it's like you can't, I wouldn't trade in any of that either, no matter how painful it was. And this is just to say, like, you know, like I just made this turn, and like I wouldn't be seeing this if I hadn't made that turn. And it's like I feel grateful to be seeing this, but then also I know that if I hadn't turned that, I wouldn't be missing this. I'd be seeing something else, and I'd probably be finding something else to be jazzed about. And if I hadn't, if the kind of like all the very random fortuitous events and decisions that led to me even exploring this particular, I don't even know what to call this, a canyon? I don't know if it qualifies or not. Hadn't happened, I'd be walking and talking somewhere very different. And, you know, it's just like not knowing what you're missing. Is that a bad thing? Is it a bad thing to not know what you're missing? I guess it just depends on how happy you are. But not necessarily. Everything keeps going in every direction. And I'm still going away from my point of origin, that is the pathway back to the rest of life, and it just happens to be that time where I should probably turn around. Seems like a pretty good spot. Just to prove to you it's me. I think we're about there. No, I don't think any special ending or anything.